So many cases I cover involve people whose lies catch up with them. And instead of coming clean, they feel that the best option is to resort to murder. Obviously. Quite what mental process they go through that means that murder seems like a sensible option is beyond me. Are they saving face? Do they think that being a grieving relative or partner reflects better on them as a reputation than a reputation as a liar? It's completely mind-boggling. But all of these cases deserve to be highlighted to learn what we can. Reflect on the lost life or lives of innocent and often oblivious people. And we just hope that justice is served appropriately and proportionately. In today's tale from 2004, a man's elaborate house of cards comes crashing down. And he tries to build another one when his wife goes missing. We're going to 2004 and to the region of Salt Lake City in Utah for the case of lorry hacking. This is Murder of Crows. Salt Lake City, or in the Navajo, Soares, often shortened to Salt Lake or SLC, is the capital and most populous city of the U.S. state of Utah. It is the county seat of Salt Lake County, the most populous county in the state. The population was 199,723 at the 2020 census, while the Salt Lake City metropolitan area has an estimated 1.3 million residents, the 46th largest metropolitan area in the United States. It is also part of the larger Salt Lake City-Ogden-Provo combined statistical area, an urban corridor along a 120-mile segment of the Wasatch Front, with a population of approximately 2.8 million. It is the principal urban center within the Great Basin, along with Reno, Nevada. Salt Lake City was founded in 1847 by settlers led by Brigham Young, who were seeking to escape persecution they had experienced while living further east. The Mormon pioneers, as they would come to be known, entered a semi-arid valley and immediately began building an extensive irrigation network that could feed the population and foster future growth. Salt Lake City's street grid system is based on a standard compass grid plan, with the southeast corner of Temple Square serving as the origin of the Salt Lake Meridian. Owing to its proximity to the Great Salt Lake, the city was originally named Great Salt Lake City. The word great was dropped from the city's name in 1868. Immigration of international members of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, or LDS Church, as well as mining booms and the construction of the first transcontinental railroad, brought economic growth, and the city was nicknamed the crossroads of the West. It was traversed by the Lincoln Highway, the first transcontinental highway in 1913. Two major cross-country freeways, I-15 and I-80, now intersect in the city. And it is around Salt Lake City that we go to look at a married couple today. But before we jump into their story, let's talk about lies. Most people will divide lies into one of two camps: white lies or largely harmless lies. These are a fact of life and can both be told knowingly and unknowingly. I'm only going out for one. I don't know who knocked the vase off the table. That random lasagna you made from tofu and banana was lovely. You get the idea, but the bottom line is, in the great scheme of things, if found out, they are annoying more than harmful, and in the right situations, they can actually be quite funny. The other type of lie is far more serious, far more hurtful, more dangerous, and more potentially harmful. When you invite a partner into your life, the first kind of lie just happens, and is absolutely not a big deal. But in a relationship, you do not expect the second kind of lie to happen, because if it does, immediately trust is damaged, and worse still, people are damaged if the lie is found out. So I'm sure you can guess where I'm going with this. But let's see how it plays out for our married couple. Laurie K. Soares was born on New Year's Eve of 1976. Laurie was the adopted daughter of Thelma and Geraldo Soares, formerly of Fullerton, California. Geraldo Soares was a Spanish and Portuguese teacher at Sunny Hills High School, and was a native of Piracicaba, Brazil. He met Thelma when they both served as missionaries for the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, the well-known LDS Church, and that was in Rio de Janeiro. Laurie's parents divorced in 1987, and Thelma and Laurie moved to Orem, Utah, the following year. Laurie attended Orem High School, about 40 miles or 64 kilometers south of Salt Lake City. And her childhood was completely normal for a single-parent family at that time, but at high school, she had a first love that became a life love. Laurie's love story began at Orem High School, which is located near Salt Lake City, as we know. And there she met Mark Hacking, and the two began a relationship. After completing high school, Mark went to the University of Utah to complete a degree in psychology, while Laurie pursued a business degree, and the couple stayed together throughout all of that time. They eventually married in 1999, and it was a happy marriage. Clearly, they were both academically gifted, and as such, their future was full of possibilities for a good income to set up the family life they both wanted. In 2004, Mark, who was by now 28, told Laurie that his application to medical school got approved at the University of North Carolina. At this time, Laurie was now 27 and worked as a stockbroker's assistant at Wells Fargo, and she had just found out that she was 5 weeks pregnant. She didn't want to be in a long-distance relationship with Mark at a time like this, So they planned to relocate to Chapel Hill, North Carolina. Laurie was excited about this new chapter in their lives. But in July 2004, she accidentally discovered a shocking truth that changed everything. On July the 16th, Laurie called the medical school in North Carolina to inquire about her husband's financial aid. But she was taken aback when she learned that Mark's plans to attend medical school were all a big lie. The phone call raised 1,000 questions in her mind. Why did Mark travel to Manhattan for an admission interview if he had never applied to the school in the first place? Quite understandably, she burst into tears as she realized her husband had been lying to her for the entire time of their relationship. And she left work early to confront Mark about it. However, Mark spun another story about how the university systems must have malfunctioned. Laurie was desperate to believe him, but the seed of doubt had been planted. She brought it up again on July the 18th and warned that she would leave him if he didn't come clean right then and there. It was then that Mark admitted everything, and the medical school was just the latest in what would turn out to be an entire patchwork of misdirection, misinformation, and downright falsehoods. As if his lie about medical school wasn't already bad enough, Mark had lied about his psychology degree also. He had dropped out of college long ago in 2002, but had pretended to still attend because of the pressure from his family to do well academically. Like that makes it okay. Laurie and Mark got into a huge fight over it. Laurie ultimately decided that he should go to North Carolina by himself, since she understandably wanted some time apart from him. She also threatened to tell his parents and in-laws the truth if he did not do as she said. He got off lightly, in my opinion. But the fear that his house of cards was about to topple seemed to cause some kind of snapping or unravelling of the selfish toad. With a level of retort that we would expect from a self-obsessed cockwomble, Mark waited for his wife to fall asleep before going to the shed to retrieve his .22 caliber rifle. He walked into the bedroom at 1 a.m. and shot Laurie in the head, splattering her blood across the mattress and the wall. After the shot rang out, Mark looked down at his hands stained with his wife's blood, haunted by what he had just done. But not so much that he called for help, wailing about a momentary snap and throwing himself to the ground in regret and remorse. Obviously, that would be a bridge too far. When he snapped himself back out of normal human feelings, he ran to the kitchen. He then grabbed a couple of bin bags and wrapped Laurie's body in them. and drove 100 miles to dispose of her remains in a dumpster. And then he returned home to clean up the crime scene, as you do. At first, Mark used a knife to cut the blood-stained top of the mattress, but it still left a trace. So he went to a store and bought a new one. And on his way back, he threw away the old mattress in a church dumpster and the murder weapon in another dumpster some distance away. The following day, with his actor hat on, Mark made a frantic call to 911 at 10:49 a.m. to report his wife missing. Because of course he did. Part of his master plan. He told the operator that she had gone out at around 5:30 a.m. for her morning jog in Memory Grove Park, but had not returned home or been to work. He had found her car abandoned at the park's entrance, but no sign of Laurie. When the police searched the house for clues, they saw that Laurie had left her handbag, car keys, and wallet behind. How did the car end up in the park if the keys were at home? Curiouser and curiouser. In addition, the driver's seat had been shifted back to accommodate a taller person of probably around 6 foot, when Laurie herself was 5'4".
My wife got up at 5 this morning, running. And I stayed in bed. I woke up at 8 and she hadn't awakened me when she got home and showered and went to work at 7. At least I thought that's what had happened. Most of the time I drive her to work and she wakes me up when she's ready and I take her to work, but sometimes she drives. And today she was driving. So, when I woke up and she was gone, I just figured she hadn't awakened me, just let me sleep. And so I got up at 8, did some things. I played my Nintendo a bit, and we needed a new mattress. We decided to get one, so I went, and we had been shopping around, looking at different places, and I had found one.
What time was that?
I left my place at about 9. We drove around. Most of the places were closed where I was looking, but one place said on the door that they would open at 10. But I got there.
What place was that?
I can't remember the name, but it's right next to R.C. Willey.
One place had a sign.
It's at 10, but I was there at probably a little after 9, and the door was open. I went in, and someone helped me.
What's it going to say? Which RC Willie was this by?
21st South.
The one there on 300 West? Or no?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay, so you go in there because the door's open.
And they have the mattresses we were looking at. They were sort of extreme comfort or something like that. And it was a good deal.
How much did you pay for it?
Paid like $500, somewhere around there. And they had We needed new pillows too. Our pillows were pretty shot. And I bought 2 pillows. And they were something like $49 a piece or $50 a piece or something.
Okay, do you buy sheets or anything like that to go along with them?
No,
No, didn't buy any sheets?
no.
How much did you say the pillows were about?
About $50.
So I spent about $600 on the mattress and the pillows.
About that.
Okay. But you don't remember the name of the place?
It's called something like it has something to do with sleeping comfortably or something like that. Like that's the title.
In general,
Right.
not the same
Okay.
parking spot. Nobody can get there.
Right.
Okay, did the cops arrive shortly after you, or were they already there?
No, they told me they couldn't look for her for 24 hours.
That's what they told you on the phone? Okay. So how did you finally get them up there?
Other people called.
Other people called? Do you know who? So other people called and then they said they'd go up there?
People she works with, co-workers. But
Okay.
I don't know who.
Did you call them and tell them that that's what they had told you or anything? Or fellow workers, or did they all just start calling in on their own?
When I got to Memory Grove this morning, they knew what was going on because I'd been on the phone with them and I told them I was
Okay.
going out there, and they just showed up.
All of our friends?
Yeah.
Okay. Friends were at Memory Grove. Okay. I just had to get a basis for the questions. Okay, let me explain the test to you. You understand it so you feel comfortable with it, so you won't be afraid of it.
Okay.
What this is a truth verification machine. Okay. Have you ever had a lie detector test, the old-fashioned type? You've seen them on TV? You've seen them on TV? Okay, they have like the box and they have all the arms going around, the papers rolling, the guy sitting in the chair and he's all strapped up and all that stuff. Okay, that was developed in the 1930s. Okay, we're hoping technology's advanced a little more since then, and that's what this is. Okay, this is just a waiver form. It's basically saying you're taking this of your own free will. Nobody's forcing you or coercing you or anything of that nature.
I do feel coerced into taking this.
And how do you feel? I mean, let me explain this to you. Nobody's making you take this test. If you don't want to, you can walk right out that door. Right
And
now.
what happens to me?
You walk out the door and they take you back up to your car.
And if I refuse, then of course that makes me look guilty.
It's not admissible in court anyway. We trust the machine. The courts just don't. It just gives us something to verify the information that we've got so far. And obviously, as you said, obviously, we got some concerns about this mattress thing. We interview people that have killed people all the time, and they don't tell us the truth. And that's what this machine is just for.
But at the same time, I've got these circumstances that look bad. So I feel like if I don't take this, then I'm just going to be drilled.
You have nothing to lose by this.
I don't think I want to take it.
Okay.
On July the 20th, police got a call reporting Mark running naked through the streets, wearing only his sandals. He was then admitted to a psychiatric institution. Candice DeLong, a retired FBI psychologist, remarked, "He kept his shoes on. That's not generally something we see in someone truly psychotic. No kidding." It was the first indication that Mark's concern for Laurie was a ruse, and an excuse for a narcissist to be able to run around in public naked. Yes, please, don't mind if I do. But the police were unconvinced, and the investigation kept rolling. The police investigated Laurie's home and car again, while Mark was at the mental hospital doing his best Jack Nicholson One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest. They were surprised to find drops of blood on her car's back seat, and a letter by Laurie that stated, "I hate coming home from work because it hurts to be home in our apartment. I can't imagine life with you if things don't change." Yeah, way to go to keep that one. Well done, genius. On July the 24th, Mark's brothers paid him a visit at the mental hospital and begged him to tell them what had happened before Laurie went missing. They kept pressuring Mark, and he eventually broke down and confessed the lies he had told his family and how he had murdered his wife. This confession startled his brothers, Scott and Lance Hacking, who had no idea what to make of the disturbing fact that Mark was a murderer. They pondered whether to report the crime to the authorities, but ultimately refused to allow it to prevent the police from finding Laurie's remains. After Mark's brothers eventually confirmed the police's suspicions, the officers unravelled yet another of his lies. CCTV footage revealed that when Mark had claimed to have gone looking for Laurie, he had purchased a new mattress before calling 911. The forensic evidence against Mark was also accumulating. Laurie's blood matched that found in her back seat, the bedroom carpet, and the bed rail. Not looking good, Marky boy. Following Mark's confession and the evidence gathered, he was arrested on August 2nd, 2004. Police reorganized the search party with hundreds of volunteers, and they used cadaver dogs to look for Laurie's remains at a Salt Lake County landfill. They spent 2 months searching through 2,000 tons of garbage, refusing to give up, before finally being successful on October the 1st, 2004. Police Sergeant J.R. Nelson shared his experience of discovering Laurie's remains, with him saying, "I pulled this group of trash out of a bag, and hair came out of that bag." He went on to say that following a close look, he discovered what seemed to be human teeth and a skeletal jaw in the bag. They analysed the teeth, which proved the remains were Laurie's. Even though Laurie's family were relieved to finally find her remains so they could have a proper burial, they could never understand why Mark lied. Paul Soares, Laurie's brother, said he didn't have to be a doctor, a president, whatever it was. As long as he was doing his best, she would have loved him. Mark's trial began in October of 2004, and he refused to plead guilty in court, because then he couldn't have been the center of attention. It wasn't until June the 6th, 2005, that he admitted guilt after his parents and brothers appealed to him to enter a plea deal and save the family money and grief. On April the 15th, 2005, Hacking pled guilty to first-degree murder in exchange for prosecutors dropping other charges. On June the 6th, 2005, Hacking was sentenced to 6 years to life in prison, the maximum possible sentence under Utah law at the time. And calm yourself down. You heard 6 years and you shat yourself, didn't you? But wait. In Utah, prison sentences are indeterminate, with a minimum and maximum time frame. The offender must serve the entire sentence unless the Utah Board of Pardons releases him sooner. Normally, those convicted of first-degree murder were required to serve a minimum of 5 years before they can be considered for parole. However, because Hacking killed Laurie with a firearm, the minimum was increased by 1 year. But wait, we'll get there now, hang on. Don't panic yet. The initial sentence, as I've just suggested, caused a widespread public outcry, with many expressing alarm at the possibility Hacking could be released after 6 years. Sibbett noted that most inmates convicted of murder have to wait between 18 and 35 years for a parole hearing. And Hacking's actions pushed it to the higher level of the spectrum. The press reported that the great majority of inmates convicted of murder serve far more than the 5-year minimum, and it is unheard of for a convicted murderer to serve less than 15 years. Several are denied parole and forced to wait 22 years for another hearing, while others receive parole dates that require them to serve an average of 20 or more years before being released. A few among those have been ordered to spend the rest of their lives in prison. Nonetheless, Paul Boyden, the executive director of the Utah Statewide Association of Prosecutors, urged the Utah Sentencing Commission to raise the minimum sentence for first-degree murder to 15 years. Boyden said that most people didn't understand Utah's indeterminate sentencing scheme, and added that it caused a public perception problem for the state. State Sentencing Commission member Cy Snar agreed, saying that it was appalling that Hacking even theoretically had a minimum 6-year sentence. On March the 20th, 2006, Utah House Bill 102, now known as Lorry's Law, was signed into law, and it stipulates that people convicted of first-degree murder in Utah must serve at least 15 years before they can be considered for parole. In July 2005, the Utah Board of Pardons declared that Mark Hacking would not be considered for parole until at least 2035, meaning that Hacking will have to serve a minimum of 30 years in prison. Even then, board chairman Mike Sibbett stressed that a hearing was not a guarantee of a release date. He stated that there were a number of aggravating factors in Hacking's case that could merit a later date. He stressed that Hacking obstructed justice by disposing of Lorry's body and falsely claiming that she was missing. Upon hearing this news, Lorry's mother, Thelma Soares, issued this statement. While it is a terrible waste of his life, the decision lifts a great burden from my mind and heart. The 6-year minimum imposed by law is an insult, not only to Lorry and the baby, but to me and my family as well. I thank the members of the State Board of Pardons and Parole for their diligence and sense of justice in dealing with this tragic case. My faith in our justice system has been upheld. On June the 6th, 2005, Mark Hacking's father read a statement from his family that he said would be their final statement to the press about the murder. The statement clarified several events leading to Mark's confession and conviction. The statement ended by quoting what Mark had told them, and this was quoted as follows: "I know prison is where I need to be. I will spend my time there doing all I can to right the many wrongs I have done." How very fucking noble. Though I realize complete atonement is impossible in this life. I have a lot of healing and changing to do. But I hope that someday I can become the man Lorry always thought I was. Some chance, you fuckwit. To the many people I have hurt, I am more sorry than you could ever know. Every day my soul burns in torment when I think of what you must be going through. Fuck me. I wish I could take away your pain. I wish I could take back all the lies I have told and replace them with the truth. I wish I could put Lorry back in your arms. My pain is deserved. Yours is not. From the bottom of my heart, I beg for your forgiveness. There is no such thing as a harmless lie, no matter how small it is. You may think a lie only hurts the liar, but this is far from the truth. If you are traveling a path of lies, please stop now and face the consequences. Whatever those consequences, they will be better than the pain you are causing yourself and others. Fuck me. He's like he's writing a fucking self-help book, you fucking prick. In June of 2006, prison officials in Utah discovered that hacking was selling personal items, including autographs, a hand tracing, various prison forms, and magazines on an online site called Murder Auction. Narcissists will always find ways of being wanted and appreciated, but there we go. Officials later announced that hacking had agreed to discontinue selling anything online. Well, as long as he said so, that's fine then, isn't it? Hacking, Utah Department of Corrections offender number 167809, is incarcerated at Central Utah Correctional Facility in Gunnison, Utah, and long may he rot. The Soares family stripped the married name Hacking from Laurie's headstone. Instead, they carved Filhinha, which translates as little daughter in Portuguese. Her value and meaning to her family is summed up by the final sentence of her obituary as follows. Her beautiful face and smile always lit up any room she entered, now lighting up celestial realms. Goodbye, our angel baby, until we meet again. Laurie Soares was beautiful, intelligent, and kind. She had value and meaning in the world. She just trusted the wrong man, and the shit biscuits took advantage of that trust and basically took the piss and could not deal with the fallout of his lies being exposed. She is the one that should be remembered, not him. And so this episode is dedicated to her. And I send love to all of those touched by this senseless tragedy. Thank you for watching another episode of Murder of Crows. I will be putting up a members-only slideshow of the CrimeCon Manchester shenanigans soon. If you want access to that, you can become a channel member for as little as 99p a month. Or if you want to get involved with the channel in a way that is free, then drop me a comment and a like. And please subscribe if you could, as it helps me to reach more people. But with that said, I'm Steve. This chunky orange doorstop is Samson. And we will see you when we see you.